So Fox News alert, more than 24 House Democrats reportedly prepping to officially call on President Biden to end his campaign, as more of his own party members cast doubt on his ability to serve another term. Special report anchor Bret Baier is here to react. So Bret, you've been doing this for a long time. What I know about Democrats, especially in the House, they do not move without the leadership. They may chirp on the sidelines, but when it's time to vote, they are in lockstep. So the question is this actually happening, or are these members just trying to protect themselves once and for all and bucking the leadership?
Yeah, Lawrence, good morning. I think it's a combination of that. I do think that Democrats and Republicans, lawmakers, are all about protecting their own hide when it comes to re-election. And what has changed in the past 24 hours is we are starting to get more and more internal polls and more external polls, public polls, about the ramifications of Thursday's debate. And there are internal polls, we are told, by Democratic lawmakers that show Joe Biden now losing Virginia, New Hampshire, and New Mexico to Donald Trump. That is a massive shift, and that would be a game changer in the Electoral College that was already close. It would mean that Donald Trump, if that held, would win going away. Those kind of numbers scare the crap out of everybody on down the ticket, because they realize that the top of the ticket could hurt their chances to hold on to the House, to take over the House and to hold on to the Senate. And I think that's what the seismic shift that you're seeing in the last 24 hours is all about.
So, Bret, you're part of the Washington press corps, and you've covered some of the issues facing Joe Biden about the acuity question before the debate. But many of your colleagues in the court didn't, but now they suddenly are. And so the question is, had you been hearing this behind the scenes? And the reason why I asked this question is because the headlines have changed. When you look at back in June with the New York Times, they said how misleading videos are trailing Biden as he battles age doubts. And then you got to July the 2nd, and it says Biden laps are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. And then you got NBC back in 2017. June 17, misleading GOP videos of Biden going viral. The fact checks have trouble keeping up. And then June 29, it's a mess. Biden turns to family on his path forward after his disastrous debate. I can go to CNN and on and on and on, but there's a story of the core changing this point of view. So behind the scenes, did you hear a different story before these were made public?
Yeah, Lawrence, I mean, just talking to folks, you acknowledged behind the scenes his cognitive issues that you were seeing with your own eyes. But the reporting of it, and it was really egregious on the whole cheap fake video thing when they went after us and others for playing these videos unedited, and they were showing exactly what everyone is seeing. Then remember the Wall Street Journal piece that was extensive with 46 different sources that the establishment of the Democratic Party and the administration and the campaign came at furiously, that it was all a political effort by the Wall Street Journal. And now you have a New York Times story that is 16 pages long, 3,000 words, that goes into more mental lapses. Remember that this debate prep happens, it doesn't start until after 11 a.m. at Camp David. He has a nap in the afternoon. Now, yesterday, he told donors, the president did, that I wasn't very smart and that it was the foreign travel and 15 time zones in early June that was the problem. The problem is that there was a lot of time in between his return and the debate prep, let alone how that debate prep went. So I do think that the dam is breaking, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see something very quickly.
So real quickly, Bret, I mean, I don't want to bash the media here because the American people saw the debate. But there was going to be some point in time where that moment was going to happen, whether it was a debate stage or a campaign stop. Did the press not think that moment would happen, or was there some assurance by the White House that they would keep him well contained? I mean, there was going to be a moment where the conversations that they were having behind the scenes was eventually going to become public. What happened there?
Yeah. Now, I think that's the biggest question. And there's a real trust issue here because a lot of these people had to know. They had to know. They saw him behind the scenes. And so why don't you report that? Why don't you do what we were doing, was showing what we know to be the truth and talking to people behind the scenes? And I think the biggest indicator, Lawrence, that this is shifting is you're seeing more and more stories about how great Vice President Harris really is.
Right.
And how great she is, really behind the scenes, working with people. She's really savvy on the issues. And suddenly this shift, this vibe towards Vice President Harris, I think you're going to see in coming days, because that's the easiest way to transition this ticket. Not only does she get access to the money, she defends the administration on what it's done, and it's not a problem for the party. It is a problem in that she has lower ratings sometimes than President Biden.
Well, Bret, as you astutely said, you always know when there's a shift in message because everyone gets on TV and they say that same talking point. You can catch more of Bret tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Special Report. Thanks so much, Bret.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.